So I wanted to talk about two things with you guys tonight. One, most importantly, is the brain. So my name's Austin Gappelberg, and this is going to be the first video where I'm kind of structuring it and doing it in a little bit different than usual. So first, I wanted to talk about how the brains were designed to survive. And what does that mean? So let's take it back to the cavemen, right? The cavemen, what did they have to figure out? They had to figure out how to survive. And that was the first version of a human being was the caveman. I mean, you can go back to Adam and Eve, but like the caveman was the first one to figure out the true ways of living, Mesopotamia, all that stuff. And the brain was created intentionally to help the caveman hunt and do all these things that we do not have anymore. The brain was created to identify potential problems, right? You kind of notice going throughout your day that you see all these problems that you're gonna either occur in your life or that people you see in the world around you. And the reason being is your brain was identified as a problem identifying machine. That's what it was meant for. It was meant to make sure that you would survive. It was meant to make sure that if there's a tiger, you realize, oh shoot, I can't stand here and do nothing. I either need to run or find a weapon. That's a problem. If you run into a stick and it's sharp, that's a problem. The brain was meant to create problems, or the brain was meant to identify problems rather, and identify that you need to survive. Another thing I wanted to touch upon real quick was the fact of negative thoughts. So everyone's like, oh, you got to think positive, all this kind of stuff. Don't think negative, but in all honesty, I'm about to burst that bubble. You're going to have negative thoughts. There's no way to avoid it. Negative thoughts are always going to be there. They're always going to take place in your life. It's just a matter of how you notice those negative thoughts, how you control those negative thoughts, how you moderate those negative thoughts. So let's talk about moderation, right? Moderation meaning you have to limit those negative thoughts. You don't want to always be thinking negative. So there's a difference, right? Positive thinking is thinking positive 80% of the time, 90% of the time. And that other 10% may be that negative thought that you can't necessarily avoid. And when you have a negative thought, at least what I personally like doing is internally saying to myself, no, that's not true. It's fear. It's false. It's a false expectation that's appearing real if it's a fear, potentially. And it's a matter of creating a mental guideline for yourself to know that when these negative thoughts arrive, that you notice them, that you take full control of that negative thought and push it out. Just because you have a negative thought doesn't mean it takes control of what you do and how you perceive the world. A negative thought can come about and go just like that, just like a positive thought. You want to keep those positive thoughts, eliminate all the negative thoughts once they come about. Notice them, observe, moderate. And that's going to be video number 1 of just Austin's educational videos.